Psychotherapy is such a personal and private process that it is a mystery to most people who have never gone through it. The following series is a unique effort that allows us to sit in on what is ordinarily a very private therapeutic experience. An actual patient was courageous enough and considerate enough to allow herself to be photographed while actually engaged in therapy with 3 different therapists. Thus, we are allowed the privilege of seeing and feeling what really transpires. A film series like this, in which 3 therapists, distinguished by their different orientations, share their therapeutic endeavors, has never been made before. We therefore wish to express our gratitude to Gloria, the patient, and to her therapists for allowing us to share in their therapeutic adventure. This series will be divided into 3 separate films. In the first film, we see Dr. Carl Rogers, founder of client-centered therapy, interviewing Gloria. In film number 2, Dr. Frederick Perls, founder of Gestalt therapy, is working with her. And in film number 3, Dr. Albert Ellis, founder of rational emotive therapy, is our therapist. Each therapist will first describe his system of therapy briefly. He will then demonstrate his work with Gloria, and then he will comment briefly on his work. Now, here's Dr. Carl Rogers.
From my own years of therapeutic experience, I've come to feel that if I can create the proper climate, the proper relationship, the proper conditions, a process of therapeutic movement will almost inevitably occur in my client. You might ask, what is this climate? What are these conditions? Will they exist in the interview with the woman I'm about to talk with, whom I've never seen before? Well, let me try to describe very briefly what these conditions are as I see them. First of all, one question is, can I be real in the relationship? This has come to have an increasing amount of importance to me over the years. I feel that genuineness is another way of describing the quality I would like to have. I like the term congruence, by which I mean that what I'm experiencing inside is present in my awareness and comes out through my communication. In a sense, when I have this quality, I'm all in one piece in the relationship. There's another word that describes it for me. I feel that in the relationship, I would like to have a transparency. I would be quite willing for my client to see all the way through me, that there would be nothing hidden. And when I'm real in this fashion that I'm trying to describe, then I know that my own feelings will often bubble up into awareness and be expressed, but be expressed in ways that won't impose themselves on my client. Then the second question I would have is, will I find myself prizing this person, caring for this person? I certainly don't want to pretend a caring that I don't feel. In fact, if I dislike my client persistently, I feel it's better that I should express it. But I know that the process of therapy is much more likely to occur, and constructive change is much more likely, if I feel a real spontaneous prizing of this individual with whom I'm working, a prizing of this person as a separate individual. You can call that quality acceptance, you can call it caring, you can call it a non-possessive love if you wish. I think any of those terms tend to describe it. I know that the relationship will prove more constructive if it's present. Then the third quality, will I be able to understand the inner world of this individual from the inside? Will I be able to see it through her eyes? Will I be able to be sufficiently sensitive to move around inside the world of her feelings so that I know what it feels like to be her, so that I can sense not only the surface meanings, but some of the meanings that lie somewhat underneath the surface. I know that if I can let myself sensitively and accurately enter into her world of experience, then change and therapeutic movement are much more likely. Well, suppose I am fortunate and that I do experience some of these attitudes in the relationship. What then? Well, then a variety of things are likely to happen, both from my clinical experience and from our research investigations. We find that if attitudes of the sort that I've described are present, then quite a number of things will happen. She'll explore some of her feelings and attitudes more deeply. She's likely to discover some hidden aspects of herself that she wasn't aware of previously. Feeling herself prized by me, it's quite possible she'll come to prize herself more. Feeling that some of her meanings are understood by me, then she can more readily perhaps listen to herself, listen to what's going on within her own experience, listen to some of the meanings she hasn't been able to catch before. And perhaps if she senses a realness in me, she'll be able to be a little more real within herself. I suspect there will be a change in the manner of her expression. At least this has been my experience in other instances. From being rather remote from her experiencing, remote from what's going on within her, it's possible that she'll move toward more immediacy of experiencing, that she will be able to sense and express what's going on in her in the immediate moment. From being disapproving of herself, it's quite possible she will move toward a greater degree of acceptance of herself. From somewhat of a fear of relating, she may move toward being able to relate more directly and to encounter me more directly. From construing life in somewhat rigid black and white patterns, she may move toward more tentative ways of construing her experience and of seeing the meanings in it. From a locus of evaluation which is outside of herself, it's quite possible she will move toward recognizing a greater capacity within herself for making judgments and drawing conclusions. So those are some of the changes that we have tended to find, and I think that they are all of them changes that are characteristic of the process of therapy or of therapeutic movement. If I have any success in creating the kind of conditions that I described initially, then we may be able to see some of these changes in this client, even though I know in advance that our contact is going to be very brief. Good morning.
Hello,
I'm Dr. Rogers. You must be Gloria.
Yes, I am.
Let's have this chair. And we have half an hour together, and I really don't know what we'll be able to make of it, but I hope we can make something of it. I'd be glad to know whatever concerns you.
Well, right now I'm nervous, but I feel more comfortable the way you're talking in a low voice, and I don't feel like you'll be so harsh on me. But
I hear the tremor in your voice, so I know you are uneasy.
well, the main thing I want to talk to you about is I'm just newly divorced, and I had gone in therapy before, and I felt comfortable when I left, and all of a sudden now the biggest change is adjusting to my single life. And one of the things that bother me the most is especially men, and having men to the house, and how it affects the children, and the biggest thing the thing that keeps coming to my mind I want to tell you about is I have a daughter 9 who at one time I felt I had a lot of emotional problems, and I wish I could stop shaking. And I'm real conscious of things affecting her. I don't want her to get upset. I don't want to shock her. I want so bad for her to accept me. And we're real open with each other, especially about sex. And the other day she saw a girl that was single but pregnant, and she asked me all about, can girls get pregnant if they're single? And the conversation was fine, and I wasn't at ease at all with her until she asked me if I'd ever made love to a man since I've left her daddy, and I lied to her. And ever since that, it keeps coming up to my mind because I feel so guilty lying to her, because I never lie, and I want her to trust me. And I almost want an answer from you. I want you to tell me if it will affect her wrong if I told her the truth or what.
And it's this concern about her and the fact that you really aren't, that this open relationship that has existed between you now, you feel is kind of
Yes, I feel like I have to be on guard about that, because I remember when I was a little girl, when I first found out my mother and father made love, it was dirty and terrible, and I didn't like her anymore for a while. And I don't want to lie to Pammy either, and I don't know.
And you sure wish I could give you the answer as to what you should tell her.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Because what you really want is an answer.
I want to especially know if it would affect her, if I was completely honest and open with her, or if it would affect her because I lied. I feel like it's bound to make a strain because I lied to her.
Sort of feel she'll suspect that, or she will know something's not quite right.
I feel that inside she'll distrust me, yes. And also I thought, well, gee, what about when she gets a little older and she finds herself in touchy situations? She probably wouldn't want to admit it to me because she thinks I'm so good and so sweet. And yet I'm afraid she could think I'm really a devil, and I want so bad for her to accept me. And I don't know how much a 9-year-old can take.
And really, both alternatives concern you, that she might think you're too good or better than you really are.
Yes.
And she might think that you're worse than you are.
Not worse than I am. I don't know if she can accept me the way I am. I think I paint a picture that I'm all sweet and motherly, and I'm a little ashamed of my shady side, too.
I see. It really cuts a little deeper. If she really knew you, could she accept you?
This is what I don't know, yes. I don't want her to turn away from me. And I don't even know how I feel about it, because there are times when I feel so guilty, like when I have a man over. I even tried to make a special setup so that if I were ever alone with him, the children would never catch me and that sort of thing. Because I'm real leery about it. And yet I also know I have these desires.
So it's quite clear, it isn't only her problem or the relationship with her, it's in you as well.
And my guilt, yeah, I feel guilty so often.
What can I accept myself as doing? And,
yes.
And you realize that you set up sort of subterfuges so as to make sure that you're not caught or something. You realize that you are acting from guilt, is it?
Yes. I don't like the way. I would like to feel comfortable with whatever I do. If I choose not to tell Pammy the truth, to feel comfortable that she can't handle it, and I don't. I want to be honest, and yet I feel there are some areas that I don't even accept.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you can't accept them in yourself, how could you possibly be comfortable in telling them to her?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yet, as you say, you do have these desires and you do have your feelings, but you don't feel good about them.
Right. And I have a feeling you're just going to sit there and let me stew in it, and I want more. I want you to help me get rid of my guilt feeling. If I can get rid of my guilt feeling about lying or going to bed with a single man, any of that, just so I can feel more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I'd like to say, no, I don't want to let you just stew in your feelings. But on the other hand, I also feel that this is the kind of very private thing that I couldn't possibly answer for you, but I sure as anything will try to help you work toward your own answer. I don't know whether that makes any sense to you, but I mean it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. You sound like you mean it. But I don't know where to go. I don't begin to know where to go. I thought that I'd pretty well worked over most of my guilt, and now that this is coming up, I'm disappointed in myself. I really am. I like it when I feel that no matter what I do, even if it's against my own morals or my upbringing, that I can still feel good about me. And now I don't. Like, there's a girl at work who sort of mothers me, and I think she thinks I'm all sweet, and I sure don't want to show my more ornery, devilish side with her. I want to be sweet, and it's so hard for me to. This all seems so new again, and it's so disappointing.
Yeah, I get the disappointment that here, a lot of these things you thought you'd worked through, and now the guilt and the feeling that only a part of you is acceptable to anybody else.
Yes.
That keeps coming out. I guess I do catch the real deep puzzlement that you feel as to what the hell shall I do? What can I do?
Yes, and you know what I can find, Doctor, is that everything I start to do, that impulse, it seems natural to tell Pammy or to go out on a date or something. I'm comfortable until I think how I was affected as a child. And the minute that comes up, then I'm all haywire. Like, I want to be a good mother so bad. And I feel like I am a good mother. But then there's those little exceptions. Like my guilt's with working. I want to work, and it's so fun having extra money. I like to work nights. The minute I think I'm not being real good to the children or giving them enough time, then I start feeling guilty again. Then that's when it's what do they call it? A double bind. That's just what it feels like. I want to do this, and it feels right, but after all, I'm not being a good mother, and I want to be both. I'm becoming more and more aware of what a perfectionist I am. That's what it seems like. I want to be so perfect. Either I want to become perfect in my standards or not have that need anymore.
Or I guess I hear it a little differently, that what you want is to seem perfect. That it means it's a great matter of great importance to you to be a good mother, and you want to seem to be a good mother even if some of your actual feelings differ from that. Does that catch you?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm saying that. No, that isn't what I feel, really.
Okay.
I want to approve of me always, but my actions won't let me. I want to approve of me. I think...
I realize you... All right, let me... because I'd like to understand that. You sound as though your actions are kind of outside of you. You want to approve of you, but what you do somehow won't let you approve of yourself.
Right. Like, I feel that I could approve of myself regarding, for example, my sex life. This is the big thing. If I really fell in love with a man and I respected him and I adored him, I don't think I'd feel so guilty going to bed with him, and I don't think I'd have to make up any excuses to the children because they could see my natural caring for him. But when I have the physical desire and I'll say, oh, well, why not? And I want to anyway, then I feel guilty afterwards. I hate facing the kids, I don't like looking at myself, and I rarely enjoy it. And this is what I mean. If the circumstances would be different, I don't think I'd feel so guilty because I'd feel right about it.
Yeah, I guess I hear you saying if what I was doing when I went to bed with a man was really genuine and full of love and respect and so on, I wouldn't feel guilty in relation to Pam. I wouldn't, I really would be comfortable about the situation.
That's how I feel, yes. And I know that sounds like I want a perfect situation, but that is how I feel. And in the meantime, I can't stop these desires. I've tried that also. I've tried saying, okay, I don't like myself when I do that, so I won't do it anymore. But then I resent the children. I think, why should they stop me from doing what I want? And it's really not that bad.
But I guess I heard you saying, too, that it isn't only the children, that you don't like it as well when it
Right.
really isn't
I'm
right.
sure I know that's it, probably even more so than I'm aware of. But I only notice it so much when I pick it up in the children. Then I can also notice it in myself.
And somehow, sometimes you kind of feel like blaming them for the feelings you have. I mean, why should they cut you off from a normal sex life?
Well, a sex life, I could say, not normal, because there is something about me that says that's not very healthy to just go into sex because you feel physically attractive or something, or a physical need. So something about it tells me that's not quite right anyway.
So to feel really that at times you are acting in ways that are not in accord with your own inner standards.
Right, right.
But then you were also saying a minute ago, but you feel you can't help that either.
I wished I could, that's it. And I can't. Now I feel like I can't control myself as well as I could have before, for a specific reason. Now I can't. I just let go, and there's too many things I do wrong that I have to feel guilty for, and I sure don't like that. I want you very much to give me a direct answer, and I'm going to ask it, and I don't expect a direct answer, but I want to know, do you feel that, to me, the most important thing is to be open and honest? And if I can be open and honest with my children, do you feel that it could harm them if, for example, I could say to Pammy, I felt bad lying to you, Pammy, and I want to tell you the truth now. And if I tell her the truth, and she's shocked at me, and she's upset, that could bother her more. In other words, I want to get rid of my guilt, and that'll help me, but I don't want to put them on her.
That's right.
Do you feel that could hurt her?
Concern. I guess I'm sure this will sound evasive to you, but it seems to me that perhaps the person you're not being fully honest with is you.
So.
Because I was very much struck by the fact that you were saying, if I feel all right about what I have done, whether it's going to bed with a man or what, if I really feel all right about it, then I don't have any concern about what I would tell Pam or my relationship with her.
Right. All right. Now I hear what you're saying. Then all right, then I want to work on accepting me then. I want to work on feeling all right about it. But that makes sense, that'll come natural, and then I won't have to worry about Pammy. But when things do seem so wrong for me and I have an impulse to do them, how can I accept that?
What you'd like to do is to feel more accepting toward yourself when you do things that you feel are wrong. Is that right?
Right. And I
Sounds
feel
like
like
a tough assignment.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to say, now why do you think they're wrong? And I have mixed feelings there too. Through therapy, I'll say, now look, I know this is natural. Women feel it. Sure, we don't talk about it a lot socially, but all women feel it, and it's very natural. I've had sex for the last 11 years. I'm, of course, going to want it, but I still think it's wrong unless you're really, truly in love with a man. And my body doesn't seem to agree. And so I don't know how to accept it.
Sounds like a triangle to me, doesn't it? You feel that I, or therapists in general, or other people say, it's all right, it's natural enough, go ahead. And I guess you feel your body sort of lines up on that side of the picture. But something in you says, but I don't like it that way, not unless it's really right.
Right. Well, I have a hopeless feeling. I mean, these are all the things I sort of feel myself, and I feel, okay, now what?
Sort of feel this is the conflict, and it's just insoluble, and therefore it's hopeless. And here you look to me, and I don't seem to give you any help. And
right. I really know you can't answer it for me, and I have to figure it out myself. But I want you to guide me, or show me where to start, or so it won't look so hopeless. I know I can keep living with this conflict, and I know eventually things would work out. But I like feeling more comfortable with the way I live. And I'm not.
One thing I might ask, what is it you wish I would say to you?
I wish you would say to me to be honest and take the risk that Pammy's going to accept me. And I also have a feeling if I could really risk it with Pammy, of all people, that I'd be able to see, here's this little kid that can accept me. And I'm really not that bad. If she really knows what a demon I am and still loves me and accepts me, it seems like it would help me to accept me more. Like, it's really not that bad. I want you to say, to go ahead and be honest. But I don't want the responsibility that it would upset her. That's where I don't want to take responsibility for it.
Yeah. You know very well what you'd like to do in a relationship. You would like to be yourself, and you'd like to have her know that you're not perfect, and you do things that maybe even she wouldn't approve of, and that you disapprove of to some degree yourself. But that somehow she would love you and accept you as an imperfect person.
Yes. Like, I wonder if my mother had been more open with me, maybe I wouldn't have had such a narrow attitude about sex. If I would have thought that she could be, you know, pretty sexy and ornery and devilish too, but I wouldn't look at her as being such a sweet mother, that she could also be the other side. But she didn't talk about that. And maybe that's where I got my picture. I don't know. But I want Pammy to see me as a full woman, but also accept me.
You don't sound so uncertain.
I don't? What do you mean?
What I mean is, you've been sitting there telling me just what you would like to do in that relationship with Pam.
I would, but I don't want to quite take the risk of doing it unless an authority tells me that.
It's, I guess one thing that I feel very keenly is, it's an awfully risky thing to live. You'd be taking a chance on your relationship with her. You'd be taking a chance on letting her know who you are, really.
Yeah, but then if I don't take the chance, if I feel loved and accepted by her, I'm never going to feel good about it anyway.
If her love and acceptance of you is based on a false picture of you, what the hell is the good of that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I mean, yes. But I also feel there's a lot of responsibility with being a mother. I don't want to feel like I've caused any big traumas in the children. I don't like all that responsibility. I think that's it. I don't like it, feeling it could be my fault.
I guess that's what I meant when I said life is risky. It's to take the responsibility for being the person you would like to be with her is a hell of a responsibility.
It is.
A very frightening one.
And you know, I look at it two ways. I like to see myself as being so honest with the kids, and really being proud of myself, though, that no matter what I told them or no matter how bad they might think I was honest. And down deep, it's going to be a much more wholesome relationship. And yet, you know, I get jealous of, like, when they're with their daddy. I feel he's more flip. He's not quite as real. He's not quite as honest. But nevertheless, they see a sweet picture of their dad. You know, he's all goodness and light. And I'm envious of that, too. I want them to see me just as sweet as they see him. And yet I know he's not quite as real with them. So it seems like I've got to swap the one for the other. And I know this is really what I want the most, but I miss some of that glory.
Yeah. You sort of feel, I want them to have just as nice a picture of me as they have of their dad, and if his is a little phony, then maybe mine will have to be too. I think that's putting it a little too strongly.
But that's close. That is what I mean. So, I know she can't have that neat a picture of me if I were honest. Besides that, I do feel I'm a little more ornery than their dad anyway, so I'm likely to do more things that they'd disapprove of.
Sounds though you really find it quite hard to believe that they would really love you if they knew you.
That's right. You know, that's exactly it. Before therapy, I would have definitely chosen the other area. I'm going to get respect from them no matter what, even if I have to lie.
I see.
Well, right now, I know that's not true. And I'm not positive they'll truly accept me. Something tells me they will. I know they will, but I'm not positive. I want reassurance. I keep wanting these
Now
things.
you're in kind of a no man's land of probably shifting from one point of view toward them to another, but boy, you'd sure like somebody to say, that's right, you go ahead and do it.
Yes, that's why I get encouraged when I read in a book from somebody I respect and admire that this is the right thing, no matter what, honesty will win out. Well, then that keeps giving me confidence, by gosh, I'm right. But
it's so damn hard to really choose something on your own, isn't it?
which makes me feel very immature. I don't like this in me. I wish I were grown up enough or mature enough to make my decisions and stick by them. But I need somebody to help me on, somebody to push me.
So that you kind of reproach yourself for that, I guess, and feel, why, if I was anybody or if I was grown up, I'd be mature enough to decide things like this for myself.
Right. And take more risks. I wish I'd take more risks. I wish that I could just go ahead and be this and say, however the children grow up, I've done my best. I didn't have to constantly have this conflict. And I'd like later years to say, no matter what you ask me, kids, at least I told you the truth. You may not have liked it, but it's been the truth. That somehow I can admire. I disrespect people that lie. I hate it. So you see what a double bind I am in. I hate myself if I'm bad, but I also hate myself if I lie. So it's the accepting. I want to become more accepting.
And I guess, judging from your tone of voice, you sound as though you hate yourself more when you lie than you do in terms of things you disapprove of in your behavior.
I do. Because this has really bothered me. This happened with Pammy about a month ago, and it keeps coming to my mind. I don't know whether to go back and talk to her about it, or wait. She may have even forgotten what she asked me. But
The point is, you haven't forgotten.
I haven't, no. I haven't. And I'd like to at least be able to tell her that I remember lying, and I'm sorry I lied, and it's been driving me bugs because I did. I do. Now I feel like now that's solved, and I didn't even solve the thing, but I feel relieved. I do feel like you've been saying to me, you're not giving me advice, but I feel like you're saying you really want to, you know what pattern you want to follow, Gloria, and go ahead and follow it. I sort of feel a backing up from you.
I guess the way I sense it is, you've been telling me that you know what you want to do, and yes, I do believe in backing up people in what they want to do. It's just a little different slant than the way it seems to you.
Are you telling me?
Because you see, one thing that concerns me is it's no damn good you're doing something that you haven't really chosen to do. That's why I'm trying to help you find out what your own inner choices are.
But then there's also a conflict there because I'm not really positive what I want to do. The lying part, yes, but I'm not positive what I want to do when I go against myself.
Sure.
Like when I bring a man to the house, I'm not sure I want to do that. If I feel guilty afterwards, I must not have really wanted to.
And I'm interested that you say, I'm not just sure which words you use, but you don't want it, you don't like yourself, or you don't approve of it when you do something against yourself.
Yes. You know, this is so different. Now, this kind of thing that we're talking about now, it isn't just knowing whether you want to do something or not. If I want to go to work in the morning or I don't want to go to work, that's easy. But when I find myself doing something I don't feel comfortable with, I automatically say, if you're not comfortable, Gloria, it's not right. Something's wrong. All right, now what I want to ask you is, how can I know which is the strongest? Because I do it, does that mean that's the strongest? And yet, if I disapprove, that's just part of the thing that's got to go along with it? See, it sounds like I'm picking up a contradiction. I'm not following.
sounds like you're feeling a contradiction in yourself too. Although what I heard you saying in part is the way you like it is when you feel really comfortable about what you're doing.
Yes. And I have at times when I've made a decision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now that seems right. That seems perfectly right. No conflict. But then there are times I do things that I feel uncomfortable with, so that there is a conflict there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same at all. So what I'm saying is, how do I really know when I'm following my true feelings if I have conflicts afterwards or guilt afterwards?
I see, because in the moment it may seem like your true feelings.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm starting to do it, okay.
Mm-hmm. 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 So that really is tough. When if you feel comfortable in the moment about it, but then afterward don't feel at all comfortable, which course of action was really the one you should have followed?
You know, the most outstanding thing, I don't know if you're following me when I say about this conflict. The one thing I know is I've wanted, for example, to leave my husband for quite a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I never did it. I kept thinking how nice it would be or how scary it would be, but I never did it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden when I did, it felt right. I didn't feel mean toward him. I just knew this is what I had to do. That's when I know I'm following myself. I'm following my feelings completely. I had no conflict there. Some unhappy things came from it, but I still had no conflict. That to me is when I'm following my feelings. And in everyday life, the small little decisions, the small little things to do don't come out that clear at all. So many conflicts come with them.
That's right.
Is this natural?
Although you're saying, I expect it is, but you're saying too that you know perfectly well the feeling within yourself that occurs when you're really doing something that's right for you.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And I miss that feeling other times, and it's right away a clue to me.
Mm-hmm. You can really listen to yourself sometimes and realize, oh no, this isn't the right feeling. This isn't the way I would feel if I was doing what I really wanted to do.
But yet many times I'll go along and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And say, oh well, I'm in the situation now, I'll just remember next time. I mention this word a lot in therapy, and most therapists grin at me or giggle or something when I say utopia. But when I do follow a feeling and I feel this good feeling inside me, that's sort of utopia. That's what I mean. That's the way I like to feel, whether it's a bad thing or a good thing. But I feel right about me. This is what I want to accomplish.
sense that in those utopian moments you really feel kind of whole. You feel all in one piece.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gives me a choked up feeling when you say that, because I don't get that as often as I'd like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like that whole feeling. That's real precious to me.
I expect none of us get it as often as we like, but I really do understand that. Mm-hmm. It really does touch you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know what else I was just thinking? I feel dumb saying it. All of a sudden, as I'm talking to you, I thought, gee, how nice I can talk to you, and I want you to approve of me, and I respect you. But I miss that my father can talk to me like you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like to say, gee, I'd like you for my father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why that came to me.
You look to me like a pretty nice daughter. But you really do miss the fact that you couldn't be open with your own dad.
Yeah, I couldn't be open, but I want to blame it on him. I think I'm more open than he'd allow me. I mean, he would never listen to me talk like you are.
Mm-hmm.
And not disapprove
Mm-hmm.
or not lower me down. Yeah, I thought of this the other day. Why do I always have to be so perfect? I know why. He always wanted me to be perfect. I always had to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I miss that.
You're just trying like hell to be the girl he wants you to be.
Yeah, at the same time rebelling.
Sure.
Like I almost gloated writing him a letter the other day and telling him I'm a waitress, which I expect him to disapprove of. I go out at nights, and I almost gloated, hitting him back like, now, how do you like me?
Uh-huh.
And yet I really want acceptance and love from him. I mean, I know he loves
So
me.
you slap at him and say, this is what I am now, see?
Yeah.
But
You raised me. How do you like it?
Yeah.
But you know what I think I want him to say? I knew this was you all along, honey, and I really love you.
Mm-hmm. I guess you really feel badly that you think there's very little chance he'll say that.
No, he won't. He doesn't hear. I went back home to him about 2 years ago, really wanting to let him know I loved him, although I've been afraid of him. And he doesn't hear me. He just keeps saying things like, honey, you know I love you. You know I've always loved you. And he doesn't hear.
He's never really known you and loved you. And this somehow is what brings the tears inside.
I don't know what it is. You know, when I talk about it, it feels more flip. If I just sit still a minute, it feels like a great big hurt down there, that I feel cheated.
It's much easier to be a little flip, because then you don't feel that big lump inside of hurt.
And again, that's a hopeless situation. I tried working on it, and I feel it's something I have to accept. My father just isn't the type of man I'd really like. I'd like somebody more understanding and caring. He cares, but not in a way that we can cooperate or communicate.
Feel, nope, I am permanently cheated.
That's why I like substitutes. Like I like talking to you, and I like men that I can respect, doctors, and I keep sort of maybe underneath feeling like we're real close, you know, and it's sort of like a substitute father.
I don't feel that's pretending.
Well, you're not really my father.
No, I meant about the real close business.
Well, see, I sort of feel that's pretending too, because I can't expect you to feel very close to me. You don't know me that well.
No, all I can do is what I am feeling. That is, I feel close to you in this moment. In spite of feeling initially the artificiality of the situation, and particularly the hot lights, I very quickly became oblivious to the outside situation, and I think that Gloria did too. In many ways, I'm glad that she kept pushing me for an answer to her very personal questions about her sex life and her relationship to her daughter. I say I'm glad of this because as the relationship developed, it became, I think, completely clear to her as well as to me that she was seeking something a good deal deeper than that. Incidentally, I'd like to pay my tribute to her deep honesty in being willing to talk about herself so freely. Although every individual is entirely unique, and in this respect I was definitely unprepared for and sometimes surprised by the material she brought up, still in another sense this was very typical of my experiences in therapy. When I'm able really to let myself enter into a relationship, and I feel that this was true in this instance, then I find myself not only being increasingly moved by being in touch with the inner world of my client, but I find myself bringing out of my own inner experience statements which seem to have no connection with what's going on, but which usually prove to be or prove to have a very significant relationship to what the client is experiencing. I felt there were one or two incidents of this kind in this brief interview. I was genuinely moved, I probably showed it, by the fact that she told me near the end of the contact that she saw me as the father she would like to have. My reply was also a thoroughly spontaneous one, that she seemed to me like a pretty nice daughter. I guess I feel that we're only playing with the real world of relationships when we talk about such an experience in terms of transference and countertransference. I feel quite deeply about that. I want to say, yes, we can put this experience into some such highly intellectualized framework, but when we do that, it completely misses the point of the very immediate I-thou quality of the relationship at such moments. I felt that Gloria and I really encountered each other, and that in some small but I believe lasting way, we were each of us enriched by the experience. I'm saying these things almost immediately after the conclusion of the interview, and as is characteristic of me, there are not more than one or two statements or incidents which I recall from the interview. I simply know that I was very much present in the relationship, that I lived it in the moment of its occurrence, and I realize that after a time I may begin to remember it too. But at the present time I really have a very non-specific memory of the whole interview. I'll try to look at it though a little bit more from an intellectual rather than a strictly feeling point of view. Gloria showed what I've come to feel are characteristic elements of therapeutic movement. In the first part of the interview, she was talking about her feelings, and they were past feelings. She was talking about aspects of her behavior and of herself as if she didn't quite own them. She was looking outside herself for a center or locus of evaluation, some source of authority. She saw some of the things she was talking about in fairly black and white fashion. By the end of the interview, she was experiencing her feelings in the immediate moment, not only as evidenced by her tears, but by her ability to express very directly and with immediacy her feelings toward me. She was also much more aware of her ability to make her own judgments and choices. I guess put in terms that have become somewhat commonplace, you could say that she moved from the there and then of her life to the here and now of elements that she was discovering in herself and feelings which she was experiencing in the moment in her relationship with me. All in all, I feel good about the interview. I guess I feel good about myself in the interview. And like Gloria, I feel very real regret that the relationship cannot continue.
Psychotherapy is sometimes described as a process of helping a person to help himself. This film is the second in a series of 3 films designed to show how this process works, with 3 different therapists. First, you have seen Dr. Carl Rogers, founder of client-centered therapy, at work with Gloria, our real live patient. Now we invite you to observe Dr. Frederick Perls, founder of Gestalt therapy, with the same patient. He will first describe his system of therapy and then demonstrate his work. Following, he will comment briefly. Now, Dr. Frederick Perls.
I am to interview a patient, and I'd like to give you some thumbnail sketch of what Gestalt therapy stands for. Gestalt therapy is working on an equation: awareness equal present time equal reality. In contrast to depth psychology, we try to get hold of the obvious of the surface of the situation in which we find ourselves and to develop the emerging Gestalt strictly on the I and thou, here and now basis. Any escape into the future or the past is examined as a likely resistance against the ongoing encounter. Modern man has alienated, given up so much of his potential that his ability to cope with his existence becomes badly impoverished. My aim is this. The patient should recover his lost potential. He should integrate the conflicting polarities, understand the difference between game playing, especially the playing of verbal games, on the one hand, and of genuine, authentic, confident behavior on the other. The civil war of inner conflicts weakens the efficiency and comfort of the patient, but every bit of integration will strengthen it. Now, in the safe emergency of the therapeutic situation, I repeat, in the safe emergency of the therapeutic situation, the patient begins to take risks and to transform his energies from manipulating the environment for support into developing greater and greater self-support, that is, reliance on his own resources. This process is called maturation. Once the patient has learned to stand on his own feet, emotionally, intellectually, and economically, his need for therapy will collapse. He will wake up from the nightmare of his existence. The basic technique is this: not to explain things to the patient, but to provide the patient with opportunities to understand and to discover himself. For this purpose, I manipulate and frustrate the patient in such a way that he's confronting himself. In this process, he identifies with his lost potential, for instance, through assimilating his projections by acting out the alien parts of himself. Principally, I consider any interpretation to be a therapeutic mistake, as this would imply that the therapist understands the patient better than the patient himself, takes away from the patient the chance of discovering himself by himself, and prevents him from finding out his own values and style. On the other hand, I disregard most of the content of what the patient says and concentrate most on the non-verbal level, as this is the only one which is less subject to self-deception than his verbal pseudo-self-expression. On the non-verbal level, the relevant Gestalt will always emerge and can be dealt with in the here and now. We are going to have an interview for half an hour.
Right away, I'm scared.
You say you're scared, but you're smiling. I don't understand how one can be scared and smile at the same time.
And I'm also suspicious of you. I think you understand very well. I think you know that when I get scared, I laugh or I kid to cover up.
But do you have stage fright?
I don't know. I'm mostly aware of you. I'm afraid that you're going to have such a direct attack that you're going to get me in the corner, and I'm afraid of it. I want you to be more on my
side. You said I get you in your corner, and you put your hand on your chest. Mm-hmm. Is this your corner?
Well, it's like, yeah, it's like I'm afraid, you know.
Where would you like to go? Can you describe the corner you like to go to?
Yeah. It's back in a corner where I'm completely protected.
And there you would be safe for me.
Well, I know I wouldn't really.
Well,
But
imagine
it feels
you were in
safer,
this-
yes.
Imagine you were in this corner, and you're perfectly safe now. What would you do in that corner?
I'd
now?
just sit.
Just sit.
Yes.
Now, how long would you sit?
I don't know, but this is so funny as you're saying this. This reminds me of when I was a little girl. Every time I was afraid, I'd feel better sitting in a corner.
Okay,
And
you're not.
panicky.
Are you a little girl?
Well, no, but it's the same feeling.
Are you a little girl?
This feeling reminds me of it.
Are you a little girl?
No.
No, at last. How old are you?
30.
Then you're not a little girl.
No.
Okay. So you're a 30-year-old girl who's afraid of a guy like me.
Well, I don't even know if I do know I'll be afraid of you. I get real defensive with you.
Now what can I do to you?
You can't do anything, but I can sure feel dumb, and I can feel stupid for not having the right answers.
Now what would it do for you to feel dumb and stupid?
I hate it when I'm stupid.
What would it do for you to be dumb and stupid? But let's put it like this. What would it do to me if you would play dumb and stupid?
It makes you all the smarter and all the higher above me. Then I really have to look up to you because you're so smart. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you butter me up right and left.
No, I think you can do that all by yourself.
I think the other way around. If you play dumb and stupid, you force me to be more explicit.
That's been said to me before, but I don't buy it. I don't
Now,
believe
what
it.
are you doing with your feet now?
Wiggling them.
What's the joke now?
Oh, I'm afraid you're going to notice everything I do. Gee.
Don't you want me?
I want you to help me become more relaxed, yes. I don't want to be so defensive with you. I don't like to feel so defensive. You're acting like you're treating me as if I'm stronger than I am, and I want you to protect me more and be nicer to me.
Are you aware of your smile? You don't believe a word what you
I
say.
do too, but I know you're going to pick on me for it.
Sure, you're bluff, you're phony.
Do you believe, you're meaning that seriously?
Yeah. If you say you're afraid and you laugh and you giggle and you squirm, that's phony. You put in a performance for me.
Oh, I resent that very much.
Can you express it?
Yes, sir. I most certainly am not being phony. I will admit this. It's hard for me to show my embarrassment, and I hate to be embarrassed. But boy, I resent you calling me a phony. Just because I smile when I'm embarrassed or I'm put in a corner doesn't mean I'm being a phony.
Wonderful, thank you. You didn't spell for the last minute.
Well, I'm mad at you.
That's right. You didn't have to cover up your anger with your smile. Now, in that moment, in that minute, you were not a phony.
Well, at that minute I was mad, though. I wasn't embarrassed.
In other words, when you're mad, you're not a phony.
I still resent that. I'm not
Do
a
this
phony when
again.
I'm nervous.
Again.
I want to get mad at you. You know what I'd like to do? I want you on my level, so I can pick on you just as much as you're picking on me.
Okay, pick on me.
I have to wait till you say something that I can pick on, but
What does this mean? Can you develop this movement?
I can't find words. I want to.
Develop this, as if you were dancing.
I want to start all over again with you.
Okay, let's start all over.
I know a corner I'd like to put you on. I'd like to ask you a question, and because I have a feeling you don't like me right off the bat, and I want to know if you do.
Can you now play Fritz Perls not liking Gloria? What would he say?
He'd say that she's a phony, for one.
Say you are a phony.
You're a phony, and you're a flip little girl, and you're a show-off.
And what would Gloria answer to that?
I know what I'd answer. I'd say I think you are too.
Now say, tell this to me. Tell me what a phony I am.
Well,
See, Fritz, you're phony.
well, phony's not quite the right word, but it's more like a show-off.
A show.
Like you know all the answers.
Yeah.
And I want you to be more human, and that doesn't seem very human to me.
To know all the answers is not very human.
Yeah, to right away find out how I'm kicking my feet and why am I doing like this. Why are you doing like that?
Oh dear, I've got eyes. I can see you're kicking your feet. I don't need a scientific computer to see that you're kicking your feet. What's big about that? You don't need to be wise to see that you're kicking your feet.
I know, but it seems like you're trying to find some reason for it.
I don't. It's your imagination.
Okay, I know what I'd like from you. Can I tell you what I'd like from you?
Yeah.
I'd like you to be aware that I'm kicking my feet and to be aware that I'm giggling when I'm really nervous and accept it instead of putting me on the defense of having to explain it. I don't want to have to explain why I'm doing these things.
Did I ask you to explain it?
You said, why am I? Or what am I doing?
No.
Well, what am I doing, you said.
That's right, kicking your feet. I didn't ask you to explain it. It's your imagination. That's not this Fritz, it's the Fritz of your imagination. It's a big difference. Now do this again. Again. How do you feel now?
I don't know.
Playing stupid.
I'm not playing stupid. I
You
don't
see,
know
I
the
don't
right
know.
answer.
This is playing stupid. You did something with your hair there. Is by any chance something in my hair what you object to?
No.
No. Okay.
No, but your hair and your features go along with the feeling I had about you earlier. I had a feeling I could be afraid of you. And you're the type of person that seems like you demand so much respect and you're...
Please play, Fritz. I demand so much respect. Play this, Fritz, you just saw.
Well, you know how smart I am. I know more about psychology than you do, Gloria. So anything I say, of course, is right.
Can you say the same as Gloria? Something similar as Gloria? Put the same act as Gloria. I demand respect because...
I don't know.
You don't
No, I don't. I identify it with my father, but not me. I don't feel I demand respect.
You don't demand respect.
No.
Sure not.
As a matter of fact, I'd like more. I'd like you to respect me more.
Now you see, so you demand respect.
All right, yes. Yes, as a matter of fact, if I could demand respect from you, I would.
But do it. Who's preventing you except yourself?
Because I feel if I get myself out on the corner, you're going to let me just drown. You're not going to help me one bit, and I know that I can't quite come up to standards with you.
What should I do when you're at the corner?
Encourage me to come out.
Ah, you don't have enough courage to come out by yourself. You need somebody to pull little mamsel in distress out of a corner.
Yes.
So anytime you want somebody to pay attention to you, call into a corner and wait till the rescuer comes.
Yes, that's exactly what I'd like.
And this is what I call phony.
Pardon me?
This is what I call phony.
Why is it phony? I'm admitting to you what I am. How is that a phony?
That is a phony because
Oh.
it's a trick, it's a gimmick to crawl into a corner and wait there till somebody comes to your rescue.
I'm admitting it. I know what I'm doing. I'm not being phony. I'm not pretending I'm so brave. I resent that. I feel like you're saying unless I come out openly and stand on my own, I'm not a phony. Baloney. I'm just as real sitting in that corner as I am out here all by myself.
But you're not sitting in that corner.
Well, not now. And besides that, it's like passing judgment when you call me phony. I just hate that anyway.
Now we're getting somewhere. I call anybody phony who puts on an act. And if you like somebody and you want to meet this person, to go to this person, tell him, I would like to meet you, I would call not phony. But if you coyishly go into that corner, waiting to be rescued, this I call phony. This I call phony.
And I still think you're judgmental. You know what I have a feeling? You've never felt this way in your life. You feel so secure that you don't have to feel. Anybody that does something like this, you're going to pass judgment on they're being a phony. Well, I resent it.
Good. Now play Fritz passing judgment.
You are. You're sitting up there in your
Play
big old
Fritz.
chair.
I am Fritz. I pass judgment. Pass judgment on me now.
I don't feel close to you at all, Dr. Perls. I feel that's phony. I feel like you're playing one big game.
Right. Sure, we're playing games, but in spite of the games, I think I've touched you now and then. I think I hurt you when I called you a phony.
Well, of course you did.
And I think I hit the bullseye. That's why you feel hurt.
I don't know. All I know is when I feel the way I feel with you right now,
Now,
it's like you don't have feeling.
Fine. Now, exaggerate this. What you just did.
Like that.
That's it. Now, talk to me like
I
this.
can't. I can't. I want to laugh. I'd like you to be younger than me so I could really scold you.
How old must I be?
My age, 30.
Good, I'm 30 now. Imagine I'm 30. And now you scold me.
Okay. Don't be so cocksure of yourself. Don't think you're so doggone smart. Don't act so proud because you've never been in the corner. I think you can be just as big a phony, parading around like you're so damn smart and you know all the answers as much as me sitting in my corner. Oh, and I like the feeling of you being younger.
Yeah.
I'd like to embarrass you.
Yeah. Embarrass me.
Well,
Tell me what it
you
was.
wouldn't get embarrassed. You seem unaffected.
Tell me. Embarrass me. Tell me how old, how ugly I am.
You don't look old and ugly. You look distinguished. And that's all the more on your side. If you look so distinguished, then see. That's more on your side, too.
Well, Gloria, can we say one thing? We had quite a good fight.
No, I know. No.
I felt.
I don't think you're fighting with me.
But I felt you came out quite a bit.
Well, I'm mad at you.
Wonderful.
But you seem so detached. You don't even seem to care that I'm mad at you. I feel like you're not recognizing me at all, Dr. Perls. Not a bit.
This is quite true. Our contact is much too superficial to be involved in caring. I care for you as far as, let's see, you're right now my client. I care for you as far as I like to, like an artist, bring something out which is hidden in you. This is as far as I care.
Well, I'd like to feel that there's it's frustrating. If I were to leave you right now and not see you again, it would frustrate me to feel like there hadn't been more contact. I feel completely out of contact with you. Like I'm talking to the baby that doesn't understand me or something like that. I don't feel like we're a bit in contact, and that frustrates me. That bothers me more than being angry with you. I'd rather we were angry and fought than to have no contact. Yeah, this reminds me of when my husband and I used to fight. He sits there and he listens to me, but he's not even aware of how much I hate him and how mad I am at him. I'd rather affect you. You to really hate me or something. And I feel like you're purposely staying out of contact with me.
How should I be? Give me your fantasy. How could I share you my concern with you?
I can't say in words. I know the feeling I'd see on you, but I can't say. It's just a feeling like, I don't know. It's like I want you to respect me more as a human being, that I've got feelings.
Now we come back to the beginning. So you want respect.
Yes, I do. I do.
See.
This is a different kind of respect than I meant the first time.
But you need respect.
Yes.
I respect you so much as a human being that I refuse to accept the phony part of yourself and address myself to the genuine part. Right now, the last few minutes, you were wonderfully genuine. You were not playing anymore. I could see you were really hurting.
Well, I don't feel I've got a right when I don't like somebody or I disagree with somebody's doing. If I should respect them, if they're above me, they're superior to me, I don't feel I've got a right to really, really tell you how mad I am at you.
That's garbage. You're not jacketing. You're getting back into your safe corner.
Well, that's the way it feels. That's what the safe corner feels like to me.
That's right. Now go back to your safe corner. Because we have to part very soon. You stayed in your safe corner. You came out for a moment. You nearly met me. You could get a little bit angry with me. Now go back to your safety.
I feel like you're telling me the only way you respect me as a human being if I'm aggressive and forceful and strong. I feel like you couldn't even accept I'd be scared to death to cry in front of you. I feel like you'd laugh at me and call me a phony. I feel like you don't accept my weak side only when I'm yelling back at you or hollering at you.
You mustn't cry in my presence.
Well, I wouldn't even give you the satisfaction.
Say this again.
No.
Say this again.
I try not to. I try not to cry in front of you or show my weak spot for fear you'd jump on me again.
Are you aware that your eyes are moist?
I'm aware that I feel more choky, yes. I feel it.
Could you choke me?
Pretend, but not for real.
Why not for real?
Well, because I don't hate you that much.
No, you want to choke my tears back. You want me to choke you so you wouldn't cry?
If I'd like to choke you, it would be to make you cry. I'd like to see you weak. I'd like to see you hurt and vulnerable.
What would this do for you?
Make me feel like I have more of a right to be hurt and you wouldn't jump on me so quick.
Would you jump on me if I would cry?
No.
But I would jump on you if you would cry. You're sure of this?
No, I'm not sure of it.
What would you like me to do if you were to cry? You're smiling something off.
Well, because I got two feelings. I was going to say I'd want you to love me and hug me, but then I thought, no, I don't want to.
What's your objection?
I'd be scared to be too close to you.
Now we're getting somewhere. First you want to be close to me. Now you're afraid to be too close to me.
This is what I'm saying, but...
That's right. Now we got the two poles of your existence.
But they're two different feelings. Close, I mean emotionally, but not physically.
But we've got the two poles of your existence now. Either far away in a corner, or be so close that you get melt into one with the other person. And apparently you travel between the two extremes.
I do. You know what I'm thinking? When I am really hurt and really upset about something, and I want someone to love me, like my girlfriend will do it a lot, and she'll come up to hug me, I don't want it.
Exactly. See? That's what I'm talking about. You cannot sustain contact. Okay, this is garbage. What are you afraid if you were too close to your girlfriend, if you let her hug you?
The only thing I'm aware of is, like when I perspire, it embarrasses me that she'd feel how wet I am, and that she'd hold my body up close, and I don't know.
Are you aware of your facial expression, the kind of disgust coming?
Yes, I am.
Do this more, please.
It's icky.
Again.
It's just icky. I can just feel what it is. I don't like it.
Can you say this to me, Fritz? You're icky.
No.
No? What's your difficulty?
Because I feel like if you really believe me, that would hurt your feelings.
Oh, you mustn't hurt my feelings.
Well,
I thought I was so indifferent, as you said before, that nothing could touch me.
No.
Now you suddenly discovered a way to touch me, isn't it?
Well, you know what I believe? I believe you're the type of person sort of like me, that you act like it wouldn't hurt your feelings, but it really would. You act strong, but you're soft and vulnerable inside there too. I think your feelings could be hurt, sure. But I don't think you'd show it very easy.
What would I do? How would I conceal my feelings?
By turning it back on me. By saying, now, what did you get from that, Gloria? You turn the whole thing back on me instead of showing how hurt you were.
Now, can you say this to Fritz? What did you get out of this, Fritz? Say this to me.
What'd you get out of what?
What you just said, just your sentence.
Sure, I know what you'd get out of it. If I said, what did you get out of this, Fritz? You'd say, nothing. It didn't bother me. It was you that did it. You still wouldn't let me know you were hurt. But I know what it would be if you told your true feelings, that you didn't want to show your hurt, so you covered it up. Same way with me in the corner.
Now, if I were hurt, if I would cry, what would you do with me?
You wouldn't be so superior to me. You'd be more vulnerable, and I could pacify you and make you feel better.
You could hug me.
Yes.
And I could be the baby.
Yes. Yes. I'd like that. You'd feel more on my level. I wouldn't have to feel so done with you.
And the other way around, you would have to be my baby. If you would cry, you would like to play the baby and be comforted and hugged and poor thing.
Well, I'd
poor
like
me.
that too.
Well, I tell you something, Gloria. I think we came to a nice closure. I think we came to a little bit of understanding. I think we finished this situation now, right?
All right.
The demonstration was, in my opinion, quite successful and consistent with my theoretical outlook. The avoidance of the genuine encounter manifested itself in three ways. The patient was first taking control by putting on a smiling, sophisticated, phony mask of oscillating between a pretense of being frightened and yet at the same time having me figured out, thus being or believing to be fully in control of the situation. Secondly, she was withdrawing by fantasizing of hiding in a corner. Thirdly, she was blocking the real encounter of melting through crying, which then would have been the real emotional meaning of this meeting. The patient was capable of identifying herself with several fantasies she had projected onto me. This was especially evident with regard to her initial denial for a need to be respected. The need for environmental support started to come out besides her need to get respected. It was verbalized in a wish to be cared for, rescued from the corner, and so on. I broke off the session when the first tears began to appear. She began to play the role of the lonely child and apparently wanted to be hugged and comforted. But here too the assimilation of her projection began to work, and she began to experience holding me like a baby. Apart from assisting her and assimilating her in some projections, the main therapeutic factor was to show her the inconsistency of her verbal and non-verbal behavior. For instance, saying that she was frightened and smiling at the same time. A frightened person does not smile. Where I feared was in the direction of her embarrassment. This embarrassment was protected by her brazenness and anger. To get to her existential embarrassment, we would have to work through and eliminate the phoniness, that is the ease with which we can superficially assume any role that is required for a specific situation. This pseudo-adaptation is her way of coping with life. This is about what I got out of this session.
We are nearing the end of our therapeutic journey. You have visited with Dr. Carl Rogers and with Dr. Frederick Perls, as they each have attempted to help Gloria with her personal concerns. Now we conclude with Dr. Albert Ellis. Dr. Ellis is the founder of rational emotive therapy. As with the others, he will first describe his system briefly, then demonstrate, and finally comment. Now for Dr. Albert Ellis.
Rational therapy, or rational emotive therapy, also called RT for short, is based on several fundamental propositions or hypotheses. And the first of these is that the past is not crucial in a person's life. The past affects him a good deal, but he affects himself much more than the past affects him, because no matter what he has learned during his historical development, the only reason why these things that have happened to him and that have been told to him affect him today is because he is still re-indoctrinating himself with the same philosophies of life, the same values that he usually imbibed and taught himself to early in his childhood. So we stick largely in the present in rational emotive psychotherapy rather than in the past. And we believe that today the individual experiences negative emotions, self-defeating behavior, inefficiencies, because he now is indoctrinating himself with what we call simple exclamatory sentences, which involve ideas. Human beings can tell themselves ideas in all kinds of languages, in pictures, in sign languages, in nonverbal expression, in math, for example, but they normally speak to themselves in simple English if English is their native tongue. And when they talk to themselves in an irrational or an illogical way, then they literally create their negative feelings or emotions and the behavior that follows therefrom. Now, just to give an example, the individual usually tells himself when he's upset, first a sane sentence and then an insane sentence. The sane sentence is something along the order of, I don't like the thing that I've done. I dislike my own behavior. And that would be fine, but unfortunately he follows it with an insane sentence which says to himself, and because I don't like my behavior, I am a louse, I am worthless, I am a no-goodnik. And this thoroughly insane sentence, which is a sentence of faith unfounded on fact, which has no empirical referent, which is a kind of superstitious or dogmatically religious system, creates what we call his anxiety, and through his anxiety, his depression, his guilt, his other forms of self-defeatism. Or again, the individual tells himself the same sentence, I don't like your behavior, when, let us say, somebody has acted badly with him, and instead of following that up with that because I don't like your behavior, I can still stand it, and I'm going to try to change to get you to change your behavior, he says, I can't stand your behavior, or in an absolutistic, godlike, grandiose manner, you shouldn't be the way you are because I think that I don't like the way you are. Now, it's these second B sentences which upset the individual. Or another way of putting it, as Epictetus, a Roman philosopher, said many years ago, it's not what happens to us at point A that upsets us, it's B, our view of what happens to us. And in rational emotive psychotherapy, we go after this individual, the patient's view, and show him that whatever he thinks has upset him, usually some external situation, what somebody else has done, it's really what he's telling himself about this thing, this event, which upsets him. And although he may never be able to do anything about the external event at A, he can change the internal event, his sentence, his belief to himself at B. Now, in rational emotive psychotherapy, we try to show the patient three kinds of insight, in contradistinction to some other therapies, which usually emphasize one major kind. The first kind we try to show him is that all his behavior, especially his negative, self-defeating behavior, which we're interested and which is upsetting him, has clear-cut ideological antecedents. He may have learnt these, as I said before, in the past, but right now, today, he must still believe these same ideologies, else he would not get the negative behavior that flows therefrom. And insight number two, which is most important and which is unfortunately neglected in many other systems of psychotherapy, is that he, being, as Ernst Cassirer once said, a symbolizing animal, is continually re-indoctrinating himself with these ideologies. And that's the issue. That's why he's now disturbed. Now, insight number three is that even when he sees clearly what he's telling himself and that he's telling himself nonsense, only by work and practice, by continually reassessing and revaluing his own philosophic assumptions, will he ever get better. Now, we also stress the fact that action is necessary to change an individual. Just talking about things, thinking about things is nice, but not necessary. I should say it's not a necessary condition for psychotherapeutic change. What the individual has to do in addition usually is act, and we therefore give him concrete homework assignments and get him to act these out and check up and follow to see whether he does these homework assignments. And our final goal is to get the individual to learn, and learn for the rest of his life, to challenge and question his own basic value systems, his own thinking, so that he really thinks for himself. He must do this particularly when he feels miserable, he feels anxiety or depression or guilt or too much frustration or anything else that is negative, or when he behaves very inefficiently. And finally, he was able, through this kind of new thinking, rethinking his own assumptions, to apply what we call the scientific method to the facets of human living, and to be truly scientific in his behavior, to question and challenge his own assumptions as we do in science, and thereby to minimize, though never entirely to eliminate, the terrible anxiety and the atrocious hostility which unfortunately affects most of us in this existence. Hello, Gloria. I'm Dr. Ellis. You
How do
want
you do, Dr. Ellis?
to be seated, please?
Mm-hmm.
Well, would you like to tell me what's bothering you most?
Yeah. I think the things that I'd like to talk to you the most about are adjusting to my single life. Mostly men, I guess. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I'm doing the wrong thing, but I'm going to refer to your book anyway, because this is what I'm impressed with, the book about the Intelligent Woman's Guide to Manhunting.
Yeah.
I tried to follow it, and I believe in it. This is why it's so fun reading your book, because I'm not much of a reader, but I sort of believe the same way you do. But then I've got a problem in this area. The men that I'm attracted to, or the type of man I'd like to become closely involved with, I can't seem to meet, or I get too shy with, or something that I don't, it just doesn't click. The men I seem to be dating nowadays are the ones that I don't respect much, the ones I don't enjoy much, that seem blip and uninteresting.
Well,
And I don't know if it's something about me or what, because I really do want to meet this kind of man.
well, let's talk a little about your shyness. Let's suppose you meet somebody whom you consider eligible, that you might
Right.
like. Now, let's see if we can get at the source of your shyness, just what you're telling yourself to create this. You meet this man and you feel shy, embarrassed.
Yes, but I don't usually show that. I usually act flip right back.
Yeah.
I act like the other men act to me, as a matter of fact. I act flip. I don't seem near as intelligent. I act like a typical dumb blonde. I'm just not myself with him. I'm more on at ease.
Yes. Well, as you probably know from demand hunting, I believe that people only get emotions such as negative emotions of shyness, embarrassment, shame, because they tell themselves something in simple exclamatory sentences. Now let's try to find out what you're telling yourself. You're meeting this individual. Now what do you think you're saying to yourself before you get flipped?
I know what it is, that I don't stand up to his expectations. I'm not quite enough for him. He's superior to me. Although I want this type of man, I'm afraid I won't have enough to attract him.
Well, that's the first part of the sentence, and that might be a true one, because maybe he could be superior to you in some ways. Maybe he wouldn't be attracted to you, but that would never upset you if you were only saying that. I think he may be superior to me. Now, you're adding a second sentence to that, which is, if this is so, that would be awful.
Well, not quite so extreme as that, because
Yeah.
I've thought about that too. It's usually, I've missed my chance again, because when I want to become, if I want to show the very best of myself, because I think I have self-confidence that I have enough to offer.
Yeah.
But when I get afraid like that, then I show all the bad qualities. I'm flip, I'm so much on the defensive that I can't show my good qualities. And it's like I missed my chance again. There was a good opportunity to be close to this man, and I loused it up again.
All right, but even let's suppose you're saying that, and I think you really are, but you must be saying something else too, because if you were just saying, hell, I missed my chance again, you'd say, all right, next time I'll take advantage of what I learned this time and do it a little better. Now, you still must be saying, if you feel shame, embarrassment, shyness, that there's something pretty bad about your error in missing your chance again.
I don't know if this follows in context to what you're saying, but the thing I do feel is that I get suspicious then. Am I the type of woman that will only appeal to the ones that are to not my type of guy anyway? Is there
Yeah.
something wrong with me? Am I never going to find the kind of man I enjoy? I always seem to get the other ones.
All right, now you're getting closer to what I'm talking about, because you're really saying, if I am this type of woman that none of these good, eligible males are going to appeal to, then that would be awful. I'd never get what I want, and that would really be something frightful, isn't
Plus,
it?
I don't like thinking of myself that way. I want to put myself on a higher standard. I don't like to think that I may be just an average Jane Doe.
But let's just suppose, for the sake of argument at the moment, that that were so.
All right.
That you were an average Jane Doe. Now, would that be so terrible? It would be inconvenient. It would be unpleasant. You wouldn't want it. But would you get an emotion like shyness, embarrassment, shame out of just believing that maybe I'm going to end up like Jane Doe?
I don't know.
Well, I don't think you could, because you still would have to be saying on some level, as I think you've just said, and it would be very bad. It would be terrible. I would be a no-goodnik if I were just
Well, plus,
Jane Doe.
I'd never get what I want. If I were just a Jane Doe, and if I'd have to accept that, I'd never get what I want, and I don't want to live the rest of my life with just icky men.
Well,
I
it's
wanna
not necessarily so that you'd never. You really mean your chances would be reduced, because we know some icky girls who get some splendid men, don't
Oh,
we?
that's
yeah.
right.
You
That's
see,
right.
so you're generalizing there. You're saying it probably would be that I'd have a more difficult time, but then you're jumping to, therefore, I'd never get it all. You see
Well-
the catastrophizing there that you jumped to.
Yes, but it feels that way to me at the time. It seems like forever.
That's right, but isn't that a vote of non-confidence in you? An essential vote of
Yes.
non-confidence.
Yes.
And the non-confidence is because you're saying, one, I don't want to miss out on things. I would like to get the kind of a man I want and be a, in your words, superior kind of girl who gets a superior kind of man.
Yes.
But if I don't, then I'm practically on the other side of the chain completely, a no-goodnik, somebody who'll never get anything that I want, which is quite an extreme away, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's what I call catastrophizing, taking a true statement, and there is a good deal of truth in what you're saying, if you didn't get the kind of a man you wanted, that it would be inconvenient, annoying, frustrating, which it really would be, and then saying, I'd never possibly get what I want, and even beyond that, you're really saying, and then I couldn't be a happy human being. Aren't you really saying that on
Yes.
some level? But let's just look at that. Let's just assume the worst, as Bertrand Russell once said years ago. Assume the worst, that you never got at all, for whatever the reasons may be, the kind of a man you want. Look at all the other things you could do in life to be happy.
Well, I don't like the whole process. I don't even like as I'm going through it. I don't. All right, even if it wasn't a catastrophe,
Yeah.
even if I didn't look at it as a catastrophe, I don't like the way I'm living right now. For example, when I meet somebody that I'm interested in that could have some potential, right away I find I'm not near as relaxed with him. I worry more, should I be friendly? Should I kiss him goodnight? Should I do this? If it's just a Joe Doe and I don't give a darn, I can be anything I want to be. I turn out to be more of a person when I'm not as concerned. I don't like the way I'm, I seem...
But you're not merely concerned, you're over-concerned, you're anxious, because if you were just concerned, you'd do your best and you'd be saying to yourself, if I succeed, great. If I don't succeed, tough. Right now, I won't get what I want. But you're over-concerned or anxious, you're really saying, again, as what we said a moment ago, if I don't get what I want right now, I'll never get it. And that would be so awful that I've got to get it right now. That causes the anxiety, doesn't it?
Yes, or else work toward it.
Yes, but if
If I don't get it right now, that's all right, but I want to feel like I'm working toward it.
Yes, but you want a guarantee, I hear. My trained ears hear you saying, I would like a guarantee of working towards it. And there are no certainties
Well,
and
no,
guarantees.
Dr. Ellis, I don't know why I'm coming out that way. What I really mean is, I want a step toward working toward it.
Well, what's stopping you?
I don't know, I thought, well, what I was hoping is, whatever this is in me, why I don't seem to be attracting these kind of men, why I seem more on the defensive, why I seem more afraid. You could help me what it is I'm afraid of so I won't do it so much.
Well, my hypothesis is so far that what you're afraid of is not just failing with this individual man, which is really the only thing at issue when you go out with a new, and we're talking about eligible males now, we'll rule out the ineligible ones. You're not just afraid that you'll miss this one, you're afraid that you'll miss this one, and therefore you'll miss every other, and therefore you prove that you are really not up to getting what you want, and wouldn't that be awful? You're bringing in these catastrophes.
Well, you sound more strong at it, but that's similar. I feel like this is silly if I keep this up.
If you keep
There's
what
something
up?
I'm doing. There's something I'm doing not to be as real a person with these men that I'm interested
That's
in.
right. You're defeating your own ends by...
I've done it again.
Right.
If I weren't so doggone anxious about trying to hook this guy, I could be more real. He's going to enjoy me more if I'm real anyway. So I'm only giving him the stinky part of me.
Right.
How can anybody I respect a chooch? And that's what I am when I don't really come through.
But look how you just devalued yourself. Let's just suppose, for the sake of argument, you kept giving the stinky part of you.
All right.
A human being, another person who's trying to get interested in you, might not like these attributes, these characteristics of you, but I don't think he's going to despise you as a person, which
No.
you are really doing.
I'm harder on myself than I think
That's
he is.
exactly
But he
the
just
point.
doesn't like me. There's not enough to me.
Right, and I say before, if people just didn't like you and you went through enough of them, and it would be hard to go through enough, but it would be possible, you'd eventually find one who did like you and whom you like. But as long as you devalue yourself personally in your own eyes, you complicate the problem enormously, and you're not focusing on how can I be myself, change the traits. If you, for example, had let us just say, a mangled arm, and you wouldn't accept your whole person, your being, because of this mangled arm, then you would focus so much on that mangled arm that you wouldn't be able to do things that you would otherwise be able to do.
That's almost what I do, yes.
Yes,
That's
you see,
almost
that's
what I do.
exactly, so you're taking a part of you, an arm, and focusing almost completely on that. Just to bring it down to our own conversation, you're taking a part of you, your shyness, your not being yourself with males, and focusing so much on that part that you're almost making it the whole of you. And you get an awful picture of your total self because of this defective part, and we're assuming, you and I, that it is defective. We're not glossing over and saying, no, you're doing all right. You're not doing that well.
All right.
Now, if you could accept yourself for the time being with this defective part, with these attributes, and not beat yourself over the head, as I feel you definitely are doing, then it becomes a relatively simple problem to work and practice, against this negative attribute. In other words, let's get back to that now, how to be yourself. Let's just suppose for the moment that you really were fully accepting yourself with your failings.
All right.
You know you're going to go out, and you know you're going to screw up with the next man, the man after that in all probability, but you're saying, all right, I have to go through a learning process. That's too bad. I won't be very good during this while, but I'll do it just as I would at ice skating, where I'd have to fall on my neck for a few times before I learned to ice skate. Okay, now let's suppose that. Then, if that was so, if you were really accepting you, you'd go out, take the risks of being you. Because after all, if you do win one of these men, you have to be yourself. You're not winning them for a day. You're not winning them for an affair. I assume you want to marry one of these individuals eventually and be with them on a long time basis.
But mostly a long relationship. I don't think so much
Yes.
of marriage as a long
All
relationship.
right, a long relationship in the course of which you couldn't act. So we don't want to give you some technique of acting well that he'll later find out was a role-playing
Right.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you have to eventually be yourself. Now, if you really weren't so disturbed about these current failings of yours, you could go out and be this self of yours. Ask yourself, what do I really want to do with this man to help enjoy him and have him help enjoy me, because that's the basic function of life, enjoyment, which we tend to lose. And you'd force yourself to take the risk of being that, because if you succeeded, great. If you failed, too bad. Either you're not for him, or he may even not be for you. Because don't forget, you said before, when these men reject you, you assume right away it must be my doing and my fault. You know, they may not be your cup of tea, and you may not be their cup of tea, and it's nobody's fault. It's just true incompatibility.
Well, it could be, yes.
You see.
Yeah.
So if you would really accept yourself as you are, and then force yourself, and if you were one of my regular patients, I would give you this homework assignment and then check up on you to see whether you could force yourself to open your big mouth and be you for a while, even though it hurt with these males. You would find that A, you would start being yourself and gradually lopping off these inefficiencies, which incidentally are the result of not being you, but watching yourself from the outside while you're trying to be you, which is almost impossible, because you can't spy on yourself and still be yourself very well at the same time.
No, but it would become like a habit.
After a while, if you took the risks and forced yourself to, as I said, open your big mouth, and even though you thought maybe it'll come out badly, maybe he won't like me, maybe I'll lose him completely, and so on and so forth, then you'd start swinging in the groove and being what you want to be, and I would almost guarantee that you'd become more practiced and less inefficient, especially in terms of the shyness, because you wouldn't be focusing on, oh my God, isn't this awful, how bad I am. You would be focusing on what a nice individual this is, and how can I enjoy him, which is the focus,
Well,
the
usually
purpose
my
of
focus is
relationship.
the opposite way.
Right.
How can I be more attractive to him, and how can he be pleased by me?
Because underneath, if I am not, then I cannot enjoy myself. I refuse to accept myself unless I attract and win this good individual. Isn't that what you're basically
Yes,
saying?
and I even go further, Dr. Ellis, when there is one of these men I come in contact with, and I find that I want to cultivate more of a relationship. Well, if he accepts me and we're going along pretty great, I find myself constantly on the defensive, constantly watching the way I sit, not
Right.
drinking too much, the whole time, instead of just relaxing and say he'll either like me or he doesn't.
In emotion and psychotherapy, you're giving a very good illustration of why other directedness doesn't pay. Because if you really are defining yourself in terms of others' estimation of you, then even when you're ahead of the game and you're winning them, you have to be saying to yourself, will I win him today? Will I win him tomorrow? Will I keep winning him? And you're always focused on, am I doing the thing to please him? And you never are yourself. You never have a self. While if you're saying, what do I want to do in life? There must be some human beings who would like me the way I am. Let's see if this is one of those human beings. Then that's the only way, isn't it, that you can be, you see?
Yes.
Now, we haven't got too much time now, so let's try to get it off on a constructive note of more concretely what you can do. You asked before where you can go, how you can meet new people. I'd say that I don't know this particular area, but it's almost any place. If you could do what we are talking about, really take risks and focus on what you want out of life, and on the fact that it's going to take time, which unfortunately it does, and it is not awful, and you're not awful while it's taking that time, then you can leave yourself open unshyly to all kinds of new encounters. And these encounters can take place on buses, while waiting for a streetcar, if they have streetcars in this area, at cocktail parties, anywhere. You can talk to people who look eligible. You can ask your friends to get you eligible males, and so on. But the main thing is that you have to, A, like yourself while you're not doing badly, and B, not be intolerant against conditions which are bad. And I'm agreeing with you that they are. Now, as I said, I would give you, if you were a patient of mine, the homework assignment of deliberately, very deliberately, going out and getting yourself into trouble. In other words, taking the most eligible males you can find at the moment and forcing yourself, risking yourself to be you.
Are you saying even if it were like if I went into a doctor's office to start a conversation with him because he was attractive to me or he appealed to me?
Right.
I'd even go so far as to starting out a conversation with him, a personal one?
Why not? If he's an eligible individual, any kind of an eligible individual.
Well, I feel you accept that, but that seems awfully brazen or something.
Well, let's suppose it is brazen. What have you got to lose? The worst he can do is reject you, and you don't have to reject you if you were thinking along the lines that we've been 25 minutes or so. You see?
Oh, yes.
Now, can you try to do that?
I think so. It sort of gives me a spurt to go out and see. You're right, that's all I can do is be rejected.
Right. And that leaves you intact. It just leaves you, unfortunately, not for the moment, getting what you want. So you try the one you've already read, and I'll be very interested in finding out what happens.
Oh, I'm excited about it.
Well, it was certainly very nice meeting you, Gloria.
Thank you, Doctor.
I enjoyed talking with this interesting and I think highly courageous patient, and thought that the session gave a pretty good illustration of a fairly typical session of rational emotive psychotherapy. How was it typical? In several ways. In the first place, I was able rather rapidly and quickly to get to some of what I think are the philosophic cores of the patient's disturbances, to show her that the reason she is feeling shy and ashamed and afraid in this instance is because, even though partially unwittingly, she is defining herself in a very negative way, or devaluing herself by blaming herself too much for imperfect behavior. Because perfectionism is the root of most human evils, and she was showing some fairly typical perfectionistic notions. So very quickly, as is usually done in rational emotive psychotherapy, we skip some of the asides, we skip going back into the history, as some of the psychoanalysts do, and we skip some of the transference relations between us and the patient, and we skip some of the nonverbal expression. Not that we think these things are quite unimportant, but we think they're of relatively little relevance to the basic core of the patient's disturbance, which is her philosophy of life. And typically, again, this patient showed both anxiety and low frustration tolerance, which most patients showed, and these were intertwined, and again, very usually, she was then beating herself over the head, blaming herself, condemning herself for feeling these kinds of feelings. Now, she did not see very clearly, at least I thought so at the beginning of the session, exactly what declarative sentences and exclamatory sentences she was telling herself to create these feelings, and I endeavored to show her some of these sentences and what could be done about it. And among other things, I also, though briefly, because this was just one brief session, tried to give her a homework assignment that she could go and get her teeth into and actively try to do, to depropagandize herself by going out and taking risks which normally up to now she hasn't been taking that much of. It's interesting to note that, again, quite typically in this session, although I was attacking fairly vigorously the patient's attitudes or philosophies, she did not feel an attack on her. She felt that I was supporting her, if anything, and she ended up, I thought, rather optimistically feeling that I had given her several ideas of what she could do in the future. Again, rather typically in this session, I kept persuading the patient and attacking her ideas and showing her that her philosophy of life not only was such and such, but that if she stuck to this kind of philosophy, she had to get negative and self-defeating results from it. And then I kept persistently going on, even though at times she became defensive and wasn't quite accepting by any means what I was saying. I didn't let this bother me, but kept going on against her basic core system, her value system, because this is, again, what bothers patients, that they give up very easily on attacking their own negative evaluations of themselves, and therefore they persist forever. Now, there were limitations, of course, especially in terms of time to the session, and these limitations did have some effect. For example, there was not enough time for repetition. In several sessions, I would have gone over much of this same material until I was sure that it had sunk in. Then I would have had time to get feedback from the patient to see whether she really understood in action in particular what I was talking about, and whether she was following it up or leading herself up some other diverting pathway which people can do. There was no time to emphasize that she would have to continually reassess her evaluations of herself and her general philosophies and do rethinking for the rest of her life. There was no time to show the patient very much that even during this session, in relation to me and what she was saying about herself, that she was displaying her bad attitudes toward herself. And finally, there was no occasion, of course, since this was an individual session, to see how she related specifically to other non-therapists, as she would in group therapy, and in the midst of this group situation to show her exactly what was going on and what she could do about it. But I do feel hopeful about the session, and think that perhaps I was able at least to give the patient a few ideas which she could then go out and work on her own, because unless patients do work themselves with the material that we therapists give them in psychotherapy, nothing eventually happens. It isn't any magic that we have for them, but we can give them certain catalytic ideas and influences which then, if they work and practice at, will do them good for the rest of their lives.
We hope that this journey into the private world of Gloria has been interesting and profitable to you. Now that you've finished viewing the films, you might like to see and to hear Gloria's own reaction to her experience. The following interview is made immediately after her work with all three therapists. Gloria, you've been through the mill today, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit about your reactions to each of these three therapists?
Yeah. First of all, I found that I was the most relaxed and the most comfortable with Dr. Rogers. And I enjoyed talking to him. And I felt free. And I was afraid of Dr. Perls. And I wasn't near as comfortable with him. And Dr. Ellis, I couldn't keep up with. I had to think more with him, and I didn't feel as sharp with him. It took me a while to sink in what he was saying.
Did you see Gloria different somehow with each of these guys?
Yes, very much. I was surprised to see I felt my more lovable, soft, caring self with Dr. Rogers. And I even felt more free, openly, even about sex. And I was surprised with that. And Dr. Ellis, I will say I felt more cold toward Dr. Ellis. I didn't have enough feeling. I was so busy trying to think with him that I didn't have enough feeling there. And I feel the most, the biggest amount of emotions came up with me and Dr. Perls.
Now let's think about each of them again, and think maybe in terms of what you learned in each situation. How do you see that?
Gee. It's hard to think what I learned.
Well, let's look at it another way. you have some negative feeling for your experience with both Perls and Ellis.
Oh.
And yet, at the same time, I got the feeling from watching you that they were dealing with parts of you that perhaps you weren't
Yes.
having to deal with
Yes.
with Dr. Rogers.
Well, then, yes, that is true. I found that if I would, for example, just see a man like Dr. Rogers only, it would be harder for my anger and my Spitfire self to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would be as full balanced therapy, for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to lean on him too much, maybe. And Dr. Perls, I can see that I'd want to get in there and fight.
Mm-hmm.
So he, especially with Dr. Perls and Dr. Rogers, they're almost a perfect combination for me. Because
Mm-hmm.
I can be so much more of my one side with Dr. Perls and the opposite with Dr. Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt unfinished, especially with Dr. Perls. I wanted more. I wanted to go on more, and I felt real let down.
Would you say that you felt your feeling self with Dr. Rogers, your fighting self with Dr. Perls?
And my thinking self
And your
with yes, exactly. That's perfect, because that is what it was. My thinking self with Dr. Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt unfinished with Dr. Ellis, too, because it couldn't sink in enough. I would have liked more time to be able to appreciate more what he had to tell me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can see then that maybe there is some importance in different types of therapy, that each has its special way of getting to you, huh?
Yes, and I will say one more thing about the therapist. I feel that if I were to go into therapy, especially being brand new, I would choose somebody like Dr. Rogers because it wouldn't frighten me so.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the stage of the game where I am right now, Dr. Perls could be the most valuable to me.
Mm-hmm.
So he isn't quite as coddling, but I think I could really get a lot from him.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'd want to battle with him too, but I feel like I could get a lot from him.
Well, you've been very courageous and willing to take risks, and we're very grateful.
Well, I appreciated it. I enjoyed it very much.
Thanks so much.